Well, this is Mike Bellevue, and I'm here for what they're calling the soft reopening of Fort Loudoun. This was a colonial-era fort on Forbes Road. It was built in 1756, and it was a major supply depot for the press against Fort Duquesne. And it's been rebuilt over the last year, and it's turning into quite a beautiful little fort. Well, Fort Loudoun is at the end of Pennsylvania's Path Valley, and it's in a great location, not far from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And as you can see, the Historical Society is doing quite a job at rebuilding this fort. So they've got the palisade wall up. They're working on the bastion, which you would see to the left of this. And they've got the guardhouse built, which is the first internal structure to go back in the fort since the 1760s. So let's take a look around and see what's going on here at the event. Well, here we are at the front gate of the fort. Let's go in and see what's inside. We're going to do a little 360 inside the fort. There's a front gate, and we're moving around clockwise past the guardhouse. See, they've got a work crew working here. They've rebuilt the picket walls. They are rebuilding the bastion. They haven't got that up yet. And we've got the back wall of the fort. And back around to the side. And back to the front gate. Well, they've rebuilt the guardhouse. In fact, this is the first structure rebuilt inside the fort since the 1760s. But we're here with Andrew Newman. He's the president of the Fort Loudoun Historical Society. And the fort has really changed since I was here a year ago. So Andrew, why don't you tell me what you guys have been doing?
Well, we have been working to rebuild the fort back to its 1756 to 65 appearance. A year ago, the fort was in terrible condition and disrepair. It was a 1993 reproduction that was falling down. We received some funding through the county tourism, Franklin County Tourism, and with the amount of about over $100,000. And so far, we have rebuilt the stockade, and we're working on the bastions now. And we also used part of that plus a private donation to build the first structure in the fort period structure since 1765, the guardhouse, which is a 12 by 16 structure.
Well, it looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, here's just a little model of what Fort Loudoun would have looked like when it was running in the 1750s. And you can see we went through the front gate. Here's the guardhouse. These would have actually been some barracks, but also storehouses. And this entire central area would have been filled with supplies. This was one of the main supply depots for General Forbes' campaign against Fort Duquesne, which is now, of course, Pittsburgh. Well, historically, Fort Loudoun was a supply depot used for the Forbes campaign against Fort Duquesne, and also used for Colonel Bouquet's campaign against the Shawnee after Pontiac's rebellion. But one of the other things it's famous for, and perhaps most famous, is this is where the Revolutionary War actually started in the 1760s. This is where the black boys, the local militia, went to battle against the garrison of Fort Loudoun to stop traders from bringing gunpowder and lead and tomahawks and other warlike supplies to the Shawnee Indians who had been terrorizing the frontier. Well, the reopening of Fort Loudoun was very successful. They had over 500 visitors on Saturday. And here's just a sampling of what they would have seen. They would have seen reenactors portraying Native Americans, portraying settlers, portraying militia. They would have seen military drills. They would have seen folks rebuilding the fort in period attire. And they would have seen demonstrations of various 18th century skills and crafts. So let's take a closer look at these.
I need your fire. We're having 2 Dutch ovens going here shortly.
Tell me what you're doing.
Well, I'm using a mortar and pestle to make cornmeal. This spring pole, and this the wood is Osage orange. Commonly known around here, we call it the hedge apple, but it's Osage orange.
So on the log right there is a picture of what we're going to do. So we're making a cover, structured cover for the well.
What kind of wood's that?
This is locust. Extremely hard locust.
Great for fence posts.
It's great for killing me.
We got our split. Now I want to separate them. Get them out of the way.
And they do the same thing. They rub the deer antler. The deer antler has a very fine porous structure, so it can really burnish up whatever wood you're working on and make it almost as smooth as glass. And then you can oil it and you can finish it at that point in time.
I'm working my phone to get it ready to start with the tape.
That was beautiful.
This time we're going to use a worm to see if there's any items in the barrel that need to be cleaned out. Search the piece. Sponge the piece.
Now see, he's wet.
Do it! Where?
And if there are, when he digs, that looks
Advance cartridge. Charge whip. Cartridge.
okay, he's putting a thing in which would have
Ram down. Cartridge.
which would also have a shot. It's not he's not firing a shot. He's firing a blank charge. And then the guy takes the hole down so that that's the way you
Prime.
just leave it like that and just put that pick down and take it off. They call that spike in the gun. If you talk about guns in civil war,
Protect your hearing.
All right, open your mouth.
The best way is plug your ears and open your mouth. Fire!
Well, it was great to see the old fort come alive once again. I think they're doing a wonderful job of restoring it, and I can only hope that next year maybe we'll see some encampments and maybe a rendezvous here. I rendezvoused here 18, 20 years ago a couple of times, and it was a lot of fun, so I'd love to see them do it again.